Mike Scott, the Waterboys. How much is the Waterboys thing you, or is it actually a full sort of band thing?
Well, it's currently in the process of expanding. It started off with just me, and as I've picked up the musicians one by one and we've become a live group, it's becoming much more of a unit. It still is all my songs, and I'm singing and playing lead guitar, but I'm finding it's very useful having a bunch of musicians who are actually making a contribution. They're not like a backing group. They're like the Waterboys.
Right, but you have very definite ideas about what you want.
Usually. Not quite sure what I want just now.
Why is that?
I think I've come to a bit of a crossroads in my songwriting. I'm not quite sure where I'm going to go next. But when it comes to playing live, I know pretty much what we're meant to be doing. You know, we go out and play a bunch of songs, and some of them we don't know how they're going to end. Some of them we're not really that sure how they're going to start. And what happens in between is very much governed by the way we feel on the night and what the venue's like and what everybody's feeling is like.
You're a very passionate sort of bloke, actually, aren't you, really? I mean, the whole approach seems to be belief in yourself, belief in definite ideals, and go out there and do it.
I don't know, I don't feel like I believe in myself all that much most of the time. I believe very much in music. I just love music and I like playing it. So I do that with a very definite respect for music. I guess that's where this sort of passion thing comes from.
I just wonder how important it is to you to have a hit single. I mean, you've had a couple of records that have got all the wonderful rave reviews that could have happened, and they haven't quite made it into the charts, and I wonder whether that's important or not.
Well, I guess it would be quite useful, but I'm very wary of having a hit single, because if you start your career with a hit single, you're immediately identified with whatever that sound was. And my stuff, the songs are also different, that no one really is representative of what the Waterboys are. And if we had a hit single, everyone would think, if our song The Big Music had been a hit, everyone would have thought, oh, so this is the kind of group the Waterboys are. But we're not really that kind of group, we're all sorts of kinds of groups.
Do you think that there's anything wrong in having hit singles? I mean, having in the whole pop thing? I mean, does it disturb you? The pop ethic?
Lots of things about it disturb me quite a lot, yeah.
What sort of things?
And I think there are a number of groups who are very serious and take what they do very seriously and are very conscientious about what they do. And there are a lot of other groups whose main purpose is to get very rich and have lots of girls fancy them and be successful in that kind of way.
Can't imagine who you're talking about.
Yeah, I wonder. And the funny thing is that these two different kinds of musicians find themselves lumped together. They're both in the same business. And it seems at the moment the business is far more attuned to the needs of the second category. The people who want to be successful in a commercial sense rather than people who want to be artistically successful. I'd like to see a little bit of a turnaround.
So you're much more an artist then than a thing to be purveyed like a product?
I think so, yeah. I'd hope so.
Does it worry you that perhaps you're not particularly hip in your attitude?
Not really, because I know that what's hip this year isn't necessarily going to be hip next year, and what's not hip this year, while it won't be hip next year, it'll still be surviving. I don't like to think that the Waterboys are a product of the times in which we live. We're just there, and I write songs regardless of what year it is or what the fashion is. So it quite suits me not to be this month's Thompson Twins.
That's right, the flavour of the month, and then you disappear.
Yeah.
Actually, some of the songs on the album have been around for a long time, haven't they?
That's true. Red Army Blues was written in early 1982, I think that's the oldest one. And then there was another batch were written in late 82, and then the last ones were written in mid-83. So they come from sort of three periods, but they were recorded over a long period of time. But it's not, I didn't take a year and a half to record 8 songs, I'm not that slow. There were about 20 songs recorded, and we just picked the 8 most purposeful songs.
Is it hard to identify with those tunes now after such a long period of time?
Yeah, it gives me all sorts of problems. You know, when the LP comes out and everybody who listens to it thinks of it as a new record or a current record.
Of course, yes.
Yeah. And some of the songs I've really got bored with. I must say, I got bored with a couple of them. And so when I was reading some of the mail that came to the record company today, people who really like Red Army Blues, and that being the oldest song on the record for me is probably the one that least interests me now. And it's very hard for me to imagine how people are appreciating it. It makes things difficult.